Hello, wonderful person. Wish you a very good health. So, was there ever such an era when magical powers or heavenly fallen angels or giants had a profound effect on humanity? And whether these mythical creatures were the result of all such evil powers? And ultimately, as the Book of Enoch says, these powers and mythical creatures were destroyed or made captive beneath the darkness of the earth by the God because of their cruelty towards humanity. So, their names were erased from this world forever and ever. Well, you might think that if an animal existed, humans would know about it. But in fact, scientists are discovering new species all the time, as many as 20,000 per year by some estimates. Welcome to Mystery TV 9. A study in the journal PLOS Biology predicted that more than 80% of species on Earth are still awaiting discovery. In the Middle Ages through the Renaissance, unicorn horn was all the rage. But it turns out, however, that the twisting conical objects were actually the tusks of narwhals, an Arctic whale hunted by Vikings who sold their tusks at astronomical prices and conveniently failed to mention the animal they came from. In 1577, the British explorer Martin Frobisher led a Canadian expedition where he found a dead narwhal, which he called a sea unicorn. He later presented the tusk to the Queen. So, there's a lot of life out there, and some of it is pretty bizarre. In many countries, mythical and supernatural creatures originates from traditional folklore. Stories about these strange and terrifying entities have been passed from one generation to the next, connecting people to their past. We will put together a list of the creepiest mythological creatures from different countries in series of episodes that may either terrify you, amuse you, or inspire your costume this Halloween. There is a fantastic realm in Greek mythology where eerily creatures and monsters live their own lives. They are born and die in special ways and live to torment and challenge the lives of mortals and gods. Each monster usually combines some realistic elements of various existing creatures and other imaginary characteristics. They usually appear in secondary roles, in Greek myths being an obstacle to great heroes that they need to overcome, or less often coming to their aid. Typhon. Typhon, also spelled Typhus in Greek mythology, youngest son of Gaia, also called Ge, Greek personification of the earth, as a goddess, mother and wife of Uranus. Typhon was described as a grisly monster with 100 dragons' heads, who was conquered and cast into the underworld by Zeus. Zeus, in ancient Greek religion, is the chief deity of the pantheon, a sky and weather god, who was identical with the Roman god Jupiter. In other accounts, Typhon was confined in the land of the Arami in Cilicia or under Mount Etna, or in other volcanic regions, where he was the cause of eruptions. Typhon was thus the personification of volcanic forces. Typhon had 3 children by his wife, Echidna. They are Cerberus, the 3-headed hound of hell, the multi-headed Lernaean Hydra, and the Chimera. He was also the father of dangerous winds or typhoons, and by later writers he was identified with the Egyptian god Seth. Second in the list is Echidna. Echidna was half a winged woman with glittering eyes and half a huge, scaly serpent. She had a seductive woman's face and a reptile's body. She was immortal and used to drag her victims to earth-shattered pits, where she liked to devour them alive. She was living in a cave, deep down beneath the earth. In Greek mythology, Echidna gave birth to many famous monsters that we encounter in Greek myths. As mentioned above, her mate was the monster Typhon. After their defeat by the Olympians and the exile of Typhon, Echidna and her offspring lived on to challenge future heroes. Echidna, like other female monsters, that had the upper body of a beautiful woman and the lower body of any sort of dragon, was part of the Dracini, group of female dragon monsters. Other well-known Dracini were Sita and Scylla. Third in the list is Gorgons. Of all the incredible creatures to emerge out of Greek mythology, the Gorgons must surely be the most terrifying female forms, with snakes for hair. They had the ability to turn any living creature to stone with just a single look. Their name was derived from the Greek word gorgos, meaning fierce, terrible, and grim. Medusa is, of course, the most famous Gorgon of all time, who was slayed by the Perseus. In the most famous Greek myths, the Gorgons were three sisters with coiling snakes for hair, who could turn unwitting onlookers to stone in an instant. Their names were Astheno, meaning the mighty or strong, Uriel, meaning the far-springer, and Medusa, the queen or guardian. In Greek myth, they are described as terrible monsters, with hair made from writhing, venomous snakes, along with golden wings, boar-like fangs, scaly skin, and long tongues. The Gorgon sisters were one of several triumvirates, which is a group of three in Greek mythology who shared similar mystical powers among their group. The fourth is Sirens. Siren, in Greek mythology, a creature half-bird and half-woman who lured sailors to destruction by the sweetness of her song. According to Homer, there were two sirens on an island in the Western Sea between Ea and the rocks of Scylla. Later, the number was usually increased to 3, and they were located on the west coast of Italy, near Naples. They were variously said to be the daughters of the sea god Phorcys or of the river god Achelous. Their power lay in their upper body appearance. The great hero Odysseus, clever as he was, sealed his sailor's ears with wax and bound himself to the mast of his ship to enjoy himself the beautiful song of the sirens without getting in the temptation of following the seductive sirens. Fifth in the list is Scylla. Scylla and Charybdis, in Greek mythology, two immortal and irresistible monsters who beset the narrow waters traversed by the hero Odysseus in his wanderings described in Homer's Odyssey. Scylla was a supernatural female creature with 12 feet and 6 heads on long, snaky necks, each head having a triple row of shark-like teeth, while her loins were girdled by the heads of baying dogs. From her lair in a cave, she devoured whatever ventured within reach, including 6 of Odysseus's companions. She was said to have been originally human in appearance, but transformed out of jealousy through the witchcraft of Circe into her fearful shape. She was sometimes identified with the Scylla, who betrayed her father king, Nisus of Megara, because of the love she had for Minos, who was the king of Crete. Sixth in the list, Harpies. The Harpies were anthropomorphic monsters in Greek mythology, with a bird's body and a woman's head. They nailed the souls of the people and handed over the lawbreakers to the Erinyes, the 3 goddesses of vengeance and retribution, who punished men for crimes against the natural order. When a person suddenly disappeared from the earth, it was said that he had been carried off by the Harpies to the underworld, the kingdom of Hades and the dead. They were agents of punishment who abducted people and tortured them on their way to the underworld. They were vicious, cruel, and violent. Giants. The giants were beings enormous in size. According to Greek mythology, they were human-like, but huge in stature and irresistible in strength. They had thick hair and a long beard. Their hairy hands held long and shiny javelins. Although they were of divine origin, they were mortals. Following other accounts, the giants were immortals as long as they walked on the ground where they were born. They are considered to have superhuman powers, enormous size, and long life, while on the contrary, they lack ethics and imagination. A famous giant was Argus, who served as a guard of Hera. According to the stories, the giants were the children of Gaia, or the Titan goddess of the earth. Ancient writer Hesiod indicates that the parents of the giants were Gaia and Uranus. However, Uranus didn't like his children, and instead of letting Gaia give birth, he imprisoned his kids inside of Gaia. When given the chance, Cronus castrated his father, thus preventing him from siring any more children. After that, Gaia gave birth to the race of giants. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe the channel for upcoming videos.